In this week's parasha, we are served a double portion, Acharei and Kedoshim. Parashat Kedoshim is right at the center of the Torah. And you'll see this physically this week in synagogue when the Hagba, the person who is honored with lifting the Torah, raises the Torah and balances it evenly between left hand and right hand. This balancing act is a perfect metaphor for what is going on in the text of Leviticus that we will read this week. Because Acharei and Kedoshim are trying to establish a spiritual equilibrium among the people of Israel through ritual practice, which will bring them closer to God and to lives of holiness. One such ritual, which is mentioned in Acharei, is the ritual of the scapegoat. On the Day of Atonement, the high priest Aaron purified the entire temple, and then drawing the people of Israel to him, he took 2 goats and randomly designated one of the goats to be sacrificed in the temple and the other to be released into the wild. That second goat, the scapegoat, Aaron would take his hands and place them on the goat's head, and with a prayer of confession, he would tell of all the transgressions of the people of Israel, of their intentional sins, of their unintentional sins, and then the goat would be released, sent out into Azazel, the desert, the place of chaos, the place of disorder, the place of disequilibrium. I can only imagine what it felt like to our ancestors to see that goat, the representation of their own animal natures, being led out of the safety of the gates of Jerusalem and sent out into the unforgiving wilderness. And yet they saw their sins leave the gates with the goat, and they were able to begin their year anew, refreshed. Now that ritual went out of use after the destruction of the Second Temple. But today, as modern Jews, we still ask those same questions that are raised in Leviticus. The questions of how do we find spiritual balance in our lives? What rituals, traditional or contemporary, might we use to draw closer to God? And why do we scapegoat ourselves and others? What can we do to assure that we are drawn closer and connecting up within our communities? A group of women artists, many of them from our congregation, have spent the last year studying these very questions, and the fruits of their studies are now displayed in the Adath Forum. The title of this art exhibit is Tikkun, Repair. And these women artists have brought modern midrash to explain to us how we can find better spiritual balance in our own lives as individuals and in the world around us. I invite you to come and see this amazing art exhibition. I know that you will find it thought-provoking and a beauty to behold. Shavua Tov. I wish you a week of spiritual equilibrium without any scapegoats.